How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Flicks and Pixels, and thank you so much for checking out today's video. Yes, guys, listen, I am going through two editions of the same film, two editions that technically should be pretty much identical. Two editions of a film that was originally released back in 2005, a film that is a firm favourite of mine. It is a great horror film. It is beloved by so many. And even the sequel, I actually really enjoyed the sequel, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people out there are a bit like, I quite like the sequel. It's not a patch on the original, but it's still enjoyable all the same. So as you can tell from the thumbnail, the film I am talking about is The Descent on 4K. And I'll take you through an unboxing of this Steelbook in just a second. Now, curiosity got the better of me because this was released in the US only, towards the back end of last year by Lionsgate Limited. And it sold out very quick, to be honest. Everyone was going crazy for it. We wanted it in the UK. People quite rightly scratching their heads. Why aren't we getting this in the UK? We've had the DVD, we've had the Blu-ray. Why aren't we getting the 4K? And the reason why people were kind of like getting a little bit frustrated by this is because Lionsgate Limited don't ship directly to the UK. They don't. The only way of getting their products is using a third-party forwarder, which essentially is basically a middleman. So what you would do is you would place your order with Lionsgate Limited, pay for it, pay for the shipping. Then you would use this middleman as your your address for them to send it to. It's like a PO box address basically in the States. And then that forwarder would then send it on to you for a fee. So not only is it a little bit of a long-winded process, it can work out quite costly as well. So people over here in the UK were holding out for a UK release, quite rightly so. Nothing, months went on, no announcement. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, we got an announcement. We're getting it in the UK. We're getting the Steelbook. And they reveal images, but they reveal images of just the Steelbook. It was a bit of a strange announcement, to be honest. Very scarce with information. It was just a couple of pictures. One of the Steelbook, and then, but there was no pet slip. So people were asking, like, where's the pet slip for this edition? Are we getting it, or are we just getting the Steelbook? Now, for anybody that doesn't know, a pet slip is basically something that slips over the Steelbook, and it complements the Steelbook design in some way, shape, or form. You'll see when I go through the unboxing, but people were asking the question, where's the pet slip? All they'd basically shown was the Steelbook, and, we're giving you a poster. We're going to give you a poster with it. Nobody wants a poster. They want to know they're getting the pet slip. So again, scarce information, but another company managed to find out, confirm it, the UK, you're getting the pet slip. So everyone was happy, great, fantastic. But curiosity got the better of me because of how strange the announcement was and how scarce they were with information, and the fact that people had to go and ask them, are we getting the pet slip for this? Because it didn't show it in the images, like I say. Curiosity got the better of me, and I thought, are we getting something slightly different here? So I pre-ordered it from HMV. Now, firstly, it's great that we're getting it in the UK on 4K. It's absolutely fantastic. You know, I've said before that I feel sometimes we get a bit of a bum deal in the UK. We don't, you know, there's certain things that get released in other territories that we don't get access to here. You know, so quite rightly, people were kind of getting frustrated by this situation with The Descent. But as I say, UK release, absolutely fantastic. So I pre-ordered it. And the UK one was released probably in the last week or two. So when you consider kind of November last year until, you know, in the last week or two, so the end of June, it took its sweet ass time to get to the UK, didn't it? But, you know, we finally got it. And I just had a feeling there was just maybe we're going to get something slightly different to the Lionsgate Limited Steelbook. And I've got the Lionsgate one here, so I'm going to do a comparison. This is the Lionsgate one, just there. Now, if I show these up to you, that's the UK one. That's the Lionsgate Limited one. Now, at a glance, you'd probably say, I don't see any difference there. They're both pretty much identical. There are some differences, and I'm going to take you through them in just a second now. But it's also worth noting that HMV released an exclusive standard edition, because not everybody likes Steelbooks. And I've said it before, I don't like every Steelbook that gets released. you know, I'm quite picky with Steelbooks, to be honest, and I'll happily go and buy a standard edition. Well, if you'd watched my live stream about three, 4 weeks ago, I announced on there that HMV had done like a bit of a stealth drop. They'd announced a standard edition of the Descent, which was basically an amaray case and a slip cover, which loads of people were really pleased about. They never got that in the US. You know, we got it over here. It was a HMV exclusive. So we were not only getting the Steelbook, we were getting a standard edition as well, which is great. It's great that we're getting these releases in the UK. It really is, because people in the UK that can't, you know, don't use third-party shippers or don't want to pay fees or anything from importing from abroad and that, you know, they could be missing out on some great titles. So the fact that we've got this in the UK is absolutely fantastic. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to take both of these editions down. We're going to unbox the UK one, and then we're going to compare it against the Lionsgate Limited version. And then we're going to bring it back up top, and then we'll talk about it some more. We'll talk about the 4K transfer and everything, and we'll go from there. So, are you ready? Come on, let's go and have a look. Okay then, so we go with the Descent on 4K in this UK edition Steelbook. And as you can see, the first thing you're greeted with is this pet slip that goes over the Steelbook itself. You've got the Descent written just there. And you'll see here you've got that clear window where you can see a little bit of the artwork from the Steelbook coming through. Then if I bring this in, you can just make out some details of the cave there. Really nice design. And then you've got your age ratings at the bottom here and your path logo here. What baffles me, and I think it's a bit disappointing to be honest, is that these age ratings and this here are printed on to the slip. 9.9 times out of 10, if you get a Steelbook like this with a slip, and sometimes without as well, the age ratings are stickers, so it gives you the option to take them off if you wish. They've decided to print them on to this slip, which I just think it's really disappointing. Just, yeah, it's a shame really, because, you know, the design itself is really nice. I just think those age ratings there and that logo there, just, I don't know, a bit intrusive, I think. What do you think? Leave a comment. But yeah, disappointed they're not stickers, but a nice design all the same. Bring it round to the spine. You've got the Descent written just there, again with those age ratings and the Pathé logo. Bring it round to the other spine. It's the same on there. Spin it round to the back. You do get a synopsis of the film, a list of what is on each of these discs in here, and your tech specs at the bottom as well. So I'll bring this in for a closer look. So if you wish to pause the video to have a read of those, please do so. Okay, so let's take the Steelbook out of here. And that is the slip without the Steelbook in. You can see that clear window now. What I will say is this slip is a fingerprint magnet, really is. But yeah, nice design. Pop that to one side, and then we'll bring in the Steelbook. And yeah, this Steelbook got a lot of attention when it first came out, when Lionsgate released it for the design. Yeah, it's a great design, isn't it? Let's be honest. So you've got obviously your characters there with their head torches on in the cave. You've got all the details of the cave underneath them. You've got a flame torch just there. Really nice. So bring it round to the spine. You've got the Descent written just there. And then spin it round to the back. And I don't know if you can make that out, but you can see you've got the creatures kind of hiding in the dark of the cave there. Looks really cool. Okay, so if we open this Steelbook up, I'll just take this out for now. We'll go through that in a second. So you can open the Steelbook in full, and you'll see that that design carries on all the way through from the front to the back. Continuous design. Looks really good. And the unique thing about this Steelbook, if you don't already know, is that when you spin it upside down, you do get the face of one of the creatures. It's a great design. It really is. Really like it. Looks great. So let's spin that round then. Before we go through the discs, just bring in the poster. So you do get a poster included in the UK version. You didn't in the Lionsgate one. And this is the poster just here. And it's a good quality poster, but I've got to be honest, guys, I'm a bit underwhelmed with the artwork they've decided to go with on that poster. It's just a bit boring, isn't it? I mean, there's so many different designs that they could have put on there, and they've gone for that one. Just don't get it. Just don't know. Just think it's a bit boring. But you tell me. I mean, there's probably going to be some people out there that love that design. For me personally, I'm not a fan of it. But as I say, it's it's a good quality poster all the same. Right then, so let's fold that up, pop that to one side for now, and then we'll go through the discs. So the first disc is your 4K disc, and that is the artwork on there, which is the front of the Steelbook. And then you get your Blu-ray disc, which has also got the film on, so you get the film on 4K and on Blu-ray in this set. And that is the Blu-ray with the film on just there. And then you do get a separate disc with the bonus features on. It's a separate Blu-ray. And that is the artwork for that there. And that is the back of the Steelbook. Put that to one side. And then we'll bring in the inside artwork of this Steelbook here. And I really like that in there. That looks great. You can see she's kind of got her head just poking out of that sludge that's in the cave there. You can see all the bones and that in the background. You've got a skull just there. Yeah, really like the design in there. Looks great. So all in all, really, really nice design. And let's just pop everything back in here. And then what I'm going to do, put the Blu-ray in and the poster. I'm just going to close this up and pop it back in its slip. And pop that there. Now what I'm going to do now, guys, I'm going to bring in the Lionsgate Steelbook. You're going to see some differences. They're going to be subjective. Some people are going to like the differences. Some people aren't. Some are going to prefer the Lionsgate. Some are probably going to prefer the UK version. But I'm going to bring it in. So let's just move that to one side. And let's bring in the Lionsgate version. There we go. Now, the first thing you're going to probably say is you can't really see any difference. And the design is exactly the same, pretty much. But you will see, obviously the Lionsgate one hasn't got, age ratings on there or anything like that. You've got your Lionsgate Limited there and just there, but it's very, very faint. But you'll notice that the Lionsgate slip is a lot more vibrant than the UK one. You can make out more of the cave detail here than you can on this one. Now don't forget this one, I had to kind of bring that up to kind of show you the detail on that cave. You don't need to do that with the Lionsgate one. Look, you can see how much more prominent it is compared to this one. Bring it in, look at that. It's just much more detailed. And you'll notice that there's more vibrancy to the Descent title here. It looks a bit washed out, a little bit dull on the UK one. And then we'll spin it round. And the backs are very different. Now this one is a bit of a struggle to read, to be honest. They should have made the text a little bit brighter, I think. They're too grey to be on. They're too much of a dark grey to be on a black background, in my opinion. Whereas Lionsgate, they've kind of used that. It's almost like a yellowy cream kind of text on there. You can see it a lot better. So when I hold that up to the camera, you can see, reading it on the screen there, it looks okay, but actually in hand, it's a little bit difficult. Whereas the Lionsgate one, it's a lot clearer, as you can see. Now, the difference in the content on here, the UK one has an extra bonus feature, which is a masterclass with the director, Neil Marshall. He was at some film festival. That is the only difference. That isn't on the Lionsgate version. So those are the differences in the bonus features. In terms of the content of the film and everything, you get two versions of the film on the Lionsgate version. You get the US theatrical cut, and then you get the uncut version. On the UK one, you don't get that option. You just get the uncut version. But you do obviously have the alternate ending in the bonus features. So the UK one doesn't give you a choice of which version you want to watch. So if you're intrigued to see the differences in the versions, you can't do that with the UK one, but you can do with the Lionsgate one. When you boot the Lionsgate one up, it gives you an option of which version of the film you want to watch. With the UK one, it doesn't. It just plays the film. You press play and it plays the film that's on there. That's it. It doesn't give you a choice at all. Right, so let's take these out of their slip covers then. So we'll start off with the UK one. And we'll pop the slip to one side there. And then we'll take out the Lionsgate one. And we'll pop that slip to one side there. And just pop those to one side. This is what is going to be subjective, I think. The UK one is like a matte finish. The Lionsgate one is a glossy finish. Now, I can only speak for my opinion. I think the Lionsgate one is miles better than the UK one. Simply because I prefer the glossy finish. It feels more premium than this one. This UK one, it just, I don't know, it feels a little bit, I don't know, cheap, I suppose. I mean, I know it's not cheap, you know, it's a decent Steelbook. It's a decent Steelbook, don't get me wrong. But compared to this one just feels a little bit more premium. And you'll see that it's got that glossy finish on there. I just think it looks and feels much more premium than this does. But you'll also notice that the images, again, much like the slipcover, you can see more of the detail on the image on here than you can do on the UK one. Now, some people might prefer the darker look on here. But me personally, I prefer this because you can see more of the cave. You can see more up here, look. You can see more of the details in that cave. This just looks a little bit too dark and a little bit washed out. It's almost like they photocopied that image and then printed it onto there. So let's turn them over. That's the Lionsgate one. That is the UK one. And immediately you'll see the difference again. You can just make out more of the detail on the Lionsgate one. This one, I had to hold right up to the camera for you to see what was kind of like going on there. It's very dark. Very dark. Whereas the Lionsgate one, you can see everything that's going on there. You know, even these bits here, look. It looks like there's some missing. There's not. There's more on there. You can see the water effects on the Lionsgate one here. See that water dripping down there? You can see all that. There's just more detail on show because the image is brighter. It's almost like it's better quality. Bring this up here. You can barely see the water dripping there, if at all. So, as you can see, guys, it is going to be very subjective. It is. Some people may prefer the matte finish on the UK one. Some people may prefer the glossy finish. I prefer the glossy finish. I just think it looks and it feels much more premium. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad Steelbook. It's a good Steelbook. I just feel that it looks and feels a little bit cheaper than the Lionsgate one. So let's open them up then. Move this down a second. And I'm going to take that poster out. So you get a poster with the UK one. You don't with the Lionsgate one. Pop that there. So if we put that there, and let's open up the Lionsgate one. Then if you can make that out, you know what? So that is the UK one, just there. And that is the Lionsgate one. just looks more detailed. It really does. It really does. I mean, leave a comment down below, guys. Let me know what you think. Which one do you prefer? Right, let's spin these back round. And we're going to go through the discs. So, the UK one, you get the film on 4K with a couple of little bonuses on there. You get the film on Blu-ray with a couple of little bonuses on there. And then you get a separate disc for the rest of the bonus features. Okay. The Lionsgate one, you get 2 discs. So you get the film on 4K with all the bonus features on, and you get the film on Blu-ray with all the bonus features on. So the UK one has got a separate disc for the majority of the bonus features. Like I say, you do get a couple on each of these. Those 2 discs are identical. Those 2 discs are identical. So the only difference is the UK one has got that extra disc with the bonus features on, whereas the Lionsgate one has all the bonus features on each one of the discs. So those are the differences with those. So let's take these discs out and let's compare the inside artwork. And you'll see that again, the image is more vibrant on the Lionsgate one. Not by much, but just by a little bit. You can see here, so this is the Lionsgate one on the bottom. You can see more of that mist there. You're kind of missing some of it here in the UK one. See that? So you're missing some of the detail. That one just looks a little bit more detailed to me, a little bit more prominent compared to that one. It's only subtle, but I think it's noticeable, as I'm sure you'll agree. So there we go, guys. As I say, there are differences, and it is very subjective. And I'm really intrigued to hear people's thoughts. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think of each one. Which one do you prefer? You know, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be, I suppose, preferring maybe that darker look of the UK one. I don't know. I prefer the Lionsgate one. I just think it looks more detailed. It's brighter. You can make out more detail in the artwork. So there are differences. And of course, with the UK one, you get a poster. I'm not keen on the poster, if I'm honest. Like I say, it's a good quality poster, but if you're going to put a poster in there, you know, put a better design on. But you can see, I'll show it again, you know, you're getting more detail with these here than you are with this. These characters just look more detailed, more prominent. The details on the cave itself, it just looks too dark on here. So what I'll do is I'll pop these back in their slips, like so. And like I said, they're both fingerprint magnets. They really are. So there we go, guys. That was the Descent 4K Steelbook, one from Pathé for the UK and one from Lionsgate Limited for the US. Let's go back up top and let's talk about them. Okay, so we are back up top with the Descent on 4K in a really nice Steelbook, guys. Listen, I know I said in the comparison video I was highlighting the differences, and there are differences there. You know, you can see them, they are noticeable. You know, despite what I was saying about preferring the Lionsgate release, this is still a great release. You know, the fact we've got this in the UK is fantastic. What worries me is that maybe they've cut corners, done some cost cutting while still charging a premium price. You know, because like I say, it is only personal preference. The Lionsgate Limited Steelbook just feels more premium. It feels more premium than the UK one. The UK one, there's just something off with it, just feels a little bit cheaper. You know, the pet slip, I don't think I mentioned this in the comparison video. The pet slip on the UK one is much thinner than the Lionsgate one. it feels a little bit flimsy, a little bit more delicate, like it could tear at any point. Don't get me wrong, it's not paper thin, but it's still a lot thinner than the Lionsgate one. I think the artwork just stands out more. You can see more detail on the Lionsgate Steelbook than you can on the UK one. But some people might like that darker image on the UK Steelbook. But like I said, guys, it's personal preference, isn't it, at the end of the day? The fact that we've got this in the UK is fantastic, and it's still a really great addition, despite me just preferring the Lionsgate one. And for anybody wondering, I'm not keeping the UK one. I'm going to keep the Lionsgate one. This has already been claimed by a friend of mine. When I told him what I was doing, he was like, once you've done it, I'll have that off you. So he's going to be having that, and I'm going to keep the Lionsgate one. But yeah, it's just great that we've got the 4K in the UK. But leave a comment down below, guys, and let me know which one did you prefer. I'd really be interested to hear your thoughts. And like I said, why have they got to put the age ratings on there printed? Just give us the sticker option so we can take them off. It just makes it look a little bit cleaner. It just distracts from the really clever design of the Steelbook and the slip that's on it. Yeah, it's just those little things, really. But in terms of the 4K transfer then, listen, it's a really good looking 4K transfer. Where this transfer shines is in its Dolby Vision. Those scenes in the cave, they're just so immersive because that Dolby Vision, you know, with the lighting, the torches, the flares that they use in those dark environments, just looks fantastic. You know, the black levels are excellent, adding to like, it makes it just so immersive. You know, you're watching this film on 4K, in the dark, you got those black levels around you with those flares and those torches. It looks fantastic. Detail looks really good as well. You know, skin textures, the clothing textures and everything look great. There's a nice healthy layer of grain giving it that filmic look as well. It ticks all the boxes for a really good 4K transfer, but it's that Dolby Vision and HDR that just add that little bit extra. Like I say, those scenes in the caves. Listen, this transfer is an OLED owner's dream. You know, I stuck this on my 65-inch G4 and it was just like, oh, yeah, this looks awesome. And like I say, the Dolby Vision with those flares, those torches, the lighting and the contrast in this film, it's just so immersive. It really is. It kind of puts you in the scene with them, to be honest. When you, especially if you've got the lights off and you're watching it, it feels like you're with them, to be honest. Yeah, so it's a really good 4K transfer. In terms of how the film sounds, and it does come with a DTS HD 5.1, and it is a great sounding mix, particularly in those cave scenes, again, where you've got the creatures when they're circling them, they're flanking them, making those creepy, eerie noises, coming at them from all different angles. That sounds really good. Your dialogue is nice and clear and crispy, and your more action-packed sequences, horror sequences, have real punch and oomph to them as well. So overall, it's a really good sounding mix. So when you combine that with the 4K picture, honestly, you're in for a treat. You really are. And I'm going to say it again. The Dolby Vision and HDR implementation on this release, chef's kiss. Honestly, it's fantastic. Like I said, the transfer across the board looks really good. Your colours look great. You know, your close-up shots, the detail on show looks really good. But it's that Dolby Vision and HDR that's just the standout for me on this release. It just looks really good. But let me know your thoughts, guys. Have you got this on 4K? Did you get the Steelbook? Have you already got the Lionsgate one? Or did you pick up the standard HMV exclusive standard release? Leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. So that is all for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you did like the video today, please give it a thumbs up. Honestly, I'd really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, if you'd please consider subscribing to the channel. Honestly, that would really mean a lot to me. It really helps the channel out. And hopefully, I will see you again on my next video. Until then, take care.